Thursday Nighter Round 1 for the month of February. I am Michael Perry, and I am pleased to be joined by International Master Nubair.
Thank you, Michael. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the round one.
We do have just a couple quick announcements here. We had a pretty big tournament at the castle on Saturday and Sunday. It was the Chess Castle Championship that obviously runs once a year, and the winner gets their name on the Chess Castle trophy. And that one was a five-way tie between Jordan Tim, OK, Michael Perry, Yusuf Khan, and Kyler Weatherspoon. They all tied. It was a five-way tie on 5 points out of 7. So those guys will play a playoff in the foreseeable future to kind of decide who gets their name on the trophy and stuff like that. So congrats to those guys. And then just catching up from last month, we had the premier section being won by Jordan Tim with 4.5. And he really crushed the field because second place was at 3 points. And second place was Nathan Hoover and Jacob Pikus. So congrats to those guys. And then the Open, it was Eric Godwin winning the January Thursday Nighter with 4 points. And second place was a bunch of guys on 3.5. So congrats to all of them. And I think that's it. We'll send it over to Nubair for the games.
Yeah. Once again, congratulations to the winner, especially Tim, with the 4.5 about 5 performance. And I'm really great to hear that 5 people tied on for the first place, and you have kept the playoffs for the first place or the person who will be getting the name on the trophy. That really sounds great. And I think it will be great fun. It will be interesting battle for all the players out there who might have finished first at some point in some months in the back then, and it will be like the champions battle. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to follow the games. Coming back to today, we have Tim playing on top board once again. It started with queen pawn opening d4, d5, knight c3, e6. So this time black is not going knight f6, going into any kind of bishop f4, bishop g5, simply goes e6, allowing to go into French by playing e4. White goes it, white accepts it. e4 now, multiple options for black, bishop b4, knight f6, depending upon the choice. Also, it's possible to take on e4. Black decide to keep it simple, so as white. And now usually the threat is bishop g5, so they play h6. Bishop to d3, okay, bishop here to d6. h4, so in some lines, there could be bishop g5 coming in. For example, if you castle earlier, there might be bishop g5, and you might just lose after h5, h5, because bishop h7 check is coming, some discord attacks. So the delay castling, they might even go long castle at times, depends. And we have a bomb cloud in the middle of the game. Now, I don't know exactly whether it's a wrong touch instead of touching the queen, might accidentally touch king, or I don't know. It's a very deep move with this, and he's planning something bigger in future. I don't know what exactly. Michael, can you help me with this? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm confused as you are. That's very odd. I mean, Magnus and Hikaru did it once, so maybe he's trying to emulate those guys. But yeah, very weird.
Yeah, maybe it's the first round, and he has won tournament last week with a great score. So he can do such things, but usually we don't gambit kings, right? I mean, we sacrifice pawn, a piece, and stuff like that. But usually we are not good chess players. Usually don't gambit with the king in the middle of the board. So very strange to me. Bishop f4. Now, if white wants, it could just take and play queen d2 or play bishop e3. Looking at the way he took, maybe he accidentally touched the king and played king e2 instead of touching the queen. This could happen, or I don't know, or maybe he realized that maybe after castles, black has bishop c6, and it's a bit hard to defend this pawn. I don't know what exactly happened, but he played king e2 and then tried to exchange queens. So definitely he was not really trying to play king e2 and do something with some wrong-term planning of attack, as he's putting queen on the next move. They trade queens. And now it's pretty much equal, like e5 is possible at any point, and d5, knight e7. I think black is fine. He does not go e5 though, so white will have small advantage because of having the center control and the control over 3 squares compared to black's 1. So that's why I would give slight edge to white, maybe some space on the king side as well. He goes f4, bishop f3, bishop c6, rook to e1. So we're not really captured. We are having this pawn. So long castle, knight e4. And now again, not so easy for black to make a move here. Maybe knight f5 was a possibility with some ideas of fork here, but maybe king f2 after that. And if you play h5, then knight g5. And maybe b6 was possible here, just waiting, not allowing white to improve the position and just staying tight. But black decided to capture the knight. So it's not a good in the long run, but still, I think it's fine as the position is semi-closed and I don't see any file getting open up for the diagonal. I mean, um, any weakness to be attacked, let's say. Goes h5, rook h3, and probably like this, he wants something. J6 already played. Rook to d3. So very strange. Usually we see the after long white does a long castle and the rooks are usually coming like this or set up in this fashion. But here we have something interesting. The h rook goes to the d and the a rook comes to the e. Michael, when you have seen such this pattern last?
I can't even remember. It's so strange.
It's I'm like this is my first time after pandemic for sure. So strange, like rook goes to e1, the a rook goes to the e and the h goes to the d. As long as guys the rooks are in e and d, life is good. Rook e8. So black is also following the same concept, but in the more systematic way. Bishop d5, this surprises me a bit. Okay, so his ideas probably takes and he wants rook e3 and should be equal in my opinion. Like let's say you capture, and even if you play king d7, okay, you have some got some f5 and king f4, but usually you should be in the time to make draw with rook g8 and some counterplay. But okay, white has some chances. So he took on d5, and for the same reason, black captured back with the rook, not allowing any kind of f5. Makes sense. Maybe c5 is coming next. Rook to e5, so not really allowing c5 because now c5 takes and we take back. Rook to d8, also c6 was possible here. Maybe he's just preventing c4. He doesn't want this c4 to come and white to gain the final central square. So he goes rook e3, c6, g4, okay, rook to h8. Now maybe the idea is king g3 and followed by f5, because if you play f5 directly, you might lose a pawn with takes, and a check. So maybe king g3 and f5 is a good idea here. But you can also take and try to get some kind of a f5, but again, you cannot really keep your king in check. So let's see what he captured. Wow. Now this is just equal. I don't see anything like this. Rooks are very I mean, it's very hard to get f5 unless you get your king inside. King g4, and is it threatening anything? Maybe take and rook e5. King d7, rook to g5. Okay, wow. So he has got one interesting idea. So so this rook has come from very strange. So like this, like this, like this, like this, and like this. Very strange path. Now, what do you think, Michael? How to continue this block?
Yeah, it's a good question. Because rook e5 is a little annoying because then obviously the threat is to take on h5 if black doesn't do anything. But I mean, probably most things are still a draw here. You can even, it doesn't look great, but maybe just take with the take the rook on g5 with probably the h rook I mean,
Yeah.
you do open up the file for white if he takes back with the H pawn, but I don't think he'll ever really be able to use the H file too much.
Yeah, only one weakness, and it could be easily covered with king e7 or something. And if maybe black wants to force a draw, maybe c5 is the move. Like just simplify it.
Yeah.
So the winner of the previous month, is he going to make draw in round one?
I think so, but I feel like he swindles a lot of people, so he could pull off an upset. Not an upset, but what do they call it? A Houdini or something. He could pull off a crazy game.
Should I game Magnus like play? Let's call it. And also he's up on time. He almost has doubled the time on the clock. And Daniel is down to 27 minutes 40 seconds, and Tim is having like 1 or 2 minutes. So if black gets low to time, pressure on cruisers, there are some chances, but I think the key move is here, this, not allowing any kind of a rook e5, and even if he plays f takes g5, I don't think it's a problem or something. But yes, at least now, okay, I mean, we are going to play rook f3 soon. The king would go here, and then maybe he can play h5 and try to go like this. But again, this would be hanging all the time, so I don't really see a way for white unless black blunders something big. We have a update. We have a result between Robert and Dane, and it's Robert who has lost with the white pieces. Which opening? What do you think? Oh wow, knight f6. So
B4.
b4.
That's my guess.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, not yet. But I think this knight is not going to come back. If black goes d6, I think this knight is not going to come back.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally, now it took maybe a year or maybe slightly more time for me to guess Robert's moves. King f7, bishop c4. This is some opening, yeah. This is what this is called. It says some caution gambit.
I can't even believe there's masters games in this position.
I mean, Hikaru does sometimes in like online chess. Like he just goes and grabs that piece, and sometimes they keep arenas with this particular position in a blitz, and it makes sense to just play it because not everyone will just go and save the king. They will try to develop pieces. Some will try to break the center and harm themselves. So okay, so Dane is very systematic player who has also played against Hikaru. So, and wow, he simply follows the plan. Wow, I'm really impressed. h3, h6, f4. Okay, e5 coming next. c6, keeping it very tight. Just knight d5, keeping it very solid, very tight. After takes, the knight would jump in. Looks good for black. Knight a6, bishop e3. So until here, white was doing fine. Maybe now he needs to improve the queen and try to give a real threat of e5. Or maybe, let's say, queen f3 followed by rook to d1, and then you play e5 so that after takes, you can take with the d pawn, and then the knight would have to go back to d7, and then you have got e6 and putting some real problems for black over there. But instead, he went bishop g1, and that's pretty slow. I mean, you cannot make a move like bishop g1 when you are down a piece, and when time is like the most important thing here. Like if you give black 2-3 moves, he'll be absolutely all right.
Yeah, this is really weird because this is so counter Robert, if you will. Like he plays so aggressively, and he played well there for a few moves, even though he's still down the piece for the 2 pawns. But then he plays king h1 and bishop g1. That just doesn't look like Robert.
Yeah, until king h1 was okay. Like I was like, okay, he has learned something not to sacrifice after one sacrifice, and maybe he's just taking a precautionary measure. Maybe it's not needed at all here, because I mean, the first thing you should do is queen f3, because once the c6 come, you can just go queen f3 and start giving threats of e5, and he can keep in his hand that when to time e5 or when to play it. Maybe after he completes development, as there's no knight g4 coming in, I don't see there's a point in playing king h1 because the black pieces are still like are not doing much, and if white is quick or fast enough here, he might get, I mean, some serious attack like e5, then d5 if knight is not coming back to d5 and stuff like that. But then he gave black enough time to do something, and now okay, queen of 3 with g4 at least. Also, it's possible to take. He goes queen d2, very very like systematic approach, developing all pieces. But now he should have kept his queen on the light squares and not the dark, because now the light squares becomes weak. Takes, bishop e7, a4. Again, this move makes no sense to me. He could have just improved the rook somewhere, like t1, f1, e1, whatever. Just improve. Maybe. Okay. So this was the idea of Robert. Like, sacrifice one more. So, can we capture here? Maybe we can. Let's see if I takes, and always queen if we have got b6. So we can do that. But Dane said, what are we going to do if I just go back? I just hope he doesn't play d5 here. He goes rook f5 now. Really, he wants to play rook takes b5 next or what? But he just prevented bishop g5. Maybe.
Oh, that must be it. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the main idea of knight to d7. Like he's threatening bishop g5. And even like here, maybe the idea was bishop g5, and then he tries to go something like queen c3 and stuff like that. But still, I don't understand exactly how he's going to do or what he's going to do with 1 or 2 piece attack. Like maybe black can still play this, but then said, okay, no complication, just go back. I'm going to back my threat. He goes rook f5, bishop g5. He follows his plan. And now bishop e3. So definitely bishop g1 was a waste of time and going 2 moves behind in the game. And the more pieces get exchanged, it becomes easier for black. And now black is completely 2 pieces up. And with these 2 knights defending the king, I think it's going to be 0-1. And okay, the rest was probably matter for technique for someone like Dane. And this was also very nice, very smart decision. So only 1 piece was not doing much, and he decided to activate it or rather trade it instantly without worrying about h4, h5, because the pawns are too far from getting into the queen or potential queen. So I think good decision of playing a6. But one could be there could be one problem, like if you lose those 2 pawns, it will be really tough to win with queen and 2 knights against a queen. But maybe still it's possible to win, but you have to be a little careful with checks and grab 1 by 1, and then you try to win. You cannot trade queens, that's the only thing. But I think it's very hard to lose the a6 pawn here. So h4 was played and knight f6, threatening knight e4, defending the queen. And yes, white did manage to exchange one of the pawns, but maybe take was better. But e6, this is not gonna work. The knights are oops. This is what happens when there are 2 knights and you haven't got none. You cannot defend every fork for like long, but Robert just blunders immediately after 1 threat, or the very first threat by black. Okay, he gave bishop g5, but okay. So I think a very good control game by Dane Zager here. He was in complete control, more or less, throughout the game. And yeah, he just took advantage of white's mistakes or white's unnecessary sacrifices, I would call.
Yeah. Not too much to say in this one. Robert went for something that obviously it's just unethical. It's maybe that's not the word for it, but it's definitely not sound. But I think he got a decent position in the opening. Like not great, but he handled it somewhat decently. But then king h1 and bishop g1 really made it look not so good anymore.
Yeah, Jarred Queen F3 Bishop E3 would have made the game interesting. So, Robert, if you're watching this, next time make sure to go for attack directly right away. Just bring your rook and plan E5, and for sure you will have a great game, I believe. So now let's talk about the board 3, where we have Keller playing against Pickers Jacob. And now we have a king pawn game and some Sicilian. Knight f3, g6. So accelerated dragon, let's say, d4, cd, knight d4, bishop g7, knight c3, knight c6, bishop e3, okay. h3. Is this some new trend to play h3 here?
I don't know, to be honest. I usually don't get many positions like this. I know, isn't this a position where white has like a ton of moves, but is h3 not one of them?
Yeah, because like the most principal way is of course the Fisher way. We just go bishop c4, f3, queen d2, make a long castle, and attack. That's the most appropriate way, and I don't see a point in playing h3, because if you play h3, then how you're going to open the h file? So in Dragon, no h3, guys. Like I don't believe this idea is good. Or maybe he just wanted to play a fresh game without theoretical battle.
And if we look at if you go back a couple moves, right after he played h3, it looks like the database says black wins 61% of the time after castles. So
yeah, because this is not so common. People are not really playing this move, and now maybe d5 is coming. I don't know, because that's what they play bishop c4 at the beginning. Now maybe d5, knight c6 take, e5, and I think that is completely fine for black. Black can just go d5 here, I guess. I mean, castling is also possible, but you're giving one more chance to. Okay, now bishop c4, even knight e4 looks interesting for black. Takes, and you have got d5 there, and I like black already. So he went knight f3. After h3, black did think for the first time for 4 to 5 minutes and went knight castles, knight f3, and maybe white realized that d5 is coming, and so instead of going to here, he went back to f3, and we have a complete fresh position here. d6, bishop e2, and okay, a6, a4, knight d7, castle. So knight d4 again, bishop d7. I think both the players are doing fine. Rook c8 or something is possible. I don't understand this when knight d5 is coming, especially.
yeah.
Maybe he wants to go back and say that, okay, e4 is also hanging. So are you going back to c3 or bishop f3, where then black has knight e5? So, but in general, they play rook c8 or rook b8 first and try to get b5 if possible. So both players not interested in doing knight d5 business here. And okay, this is not a good capture for black. I mean, there's just no need to rush with this. Like, why you want to harm your king safety? Let white work something, allow your pieces to improve. And then you capture things, or you can just play rook here at least, or something like that. But if you capture like this, you're allowing white to make progress. Maybe e5 possible in future, maybe knight d5. Now this doesn't look good. Like knight d5 and e5, just like, I like white at least here. You can also take and do the same thing. And yeah, finally it happens. So lots of weakness in black's camp. Knight d7 is a direct threat. e6, knight f6 is a direct threat. So probably knight e6 is the only way. Queen b4. Again, you cannot capture. The e7 hangs, e5 hangs. Doesn't look good. Bishop c6 maybe. And even if white plays rook d1, I think it's doing good. But he captures first. ed, and rook d1. Yeah, just unpleasant. I think with 1 hour and 32 minutes for black, I think this is going in white's favor. And they just captured on d5. And if white wants, he can even capture here. If he wants, he can go to d1. If he wants, he can go queen d4, queen d2, and grab the d6 pawn. So I think this is going in white's favor.
Yeah, too many weaknesses. White could eventually go up 2 pawns, even like you said. So
Yeah, these are going to be dropped very soon, and white is going to have an easy game. Let's move to the next board where we have ED playing against Hoover Natan, and it is still having a lot of time. Not in time pressure yet. 30 minutes for him and 50 minutes for black. But the position is around equal. It is threatening to damage the d5 and probably get d7 at some point. So maybe, okay, we'll come to this, but let's have a look from the beginning. And Michael, can you take us from this game? It's
yeah. So I usually play bishop c4, but obviously bishop e5 is normal. And then we had a6 bishop. Yeah, this is what I've been experimenting with lately. A6. After bishop b5, I used to kind of just play bishop c5 or something like that, but I've been playing a6 lately. Yeah, but both are theory, but I wanted to switch it up, so I've been playing a6. But this is all still theory.
Yep, it's just matter of a choice to play open or close Roy Lopez. Pretty much standard. c5, queen c7 next. And okay, we're heading to Bear.
And this is a common plan for white to reroute their knight to g3. That's really common in these e4 positions.
Rook b1 I have not seen. Usually they play d5, try to gain some space on the queen side, then they block it, and then they try to do something on the king side. Is what I have seen from so many years.
The only sense I can make out of that move is he wants to get it off the diagonal of the bishop, but you can probably play bishop b2 if you want.
Yeah. But they usually play d5 first because otherwise they might take and get some kind of a c4, I believe. Or even d5 here, right?
And if we take on e5 with the knight?
Maybe same.
Same. Takes. This looks playable, though.
Yeah. But this bishop looks little...
True, it's a little sad.
Yeah. So usual practice is first you block, don't give any chances of d5 or take c5 where the bishop might be hurting you. The bishop has just come to g7, and just like in King's Indian, white usually plays d5 and says, okay, it's going to be a long game. I'm going to hurt you on the queen side. So they can play with the same strategy here, like King's Indian structures. But here I was a bit shocked when AD played rook b1.
And what I also like, sorry to interrupt, but what I also like about your d5 move is that when you have that like d5 e4 structure as white, kind of like the King's Indian type structure, if you can play that and it's not really practical for black to get either c5 or f5, usually you should do it. And it's definitely hard for black to get f5 because we have a bishop, pawn, and a knight guarding against black if we're playing f5. And if they play c5, we en passant, and d6 is weak. So I do like d5.
Yeah, and that's why 88% games in the master database have proceeded with f5, with d5, and it's the most logical move. But JD, after thinking of 10 to 12 minutes, decided to go rook b1, maybe some new ideas, maybe he will transpose. Let's see what happens next. And black goes d5 instantly, not waiting for second chance or not giving 80-second chance, immediately equalizes. D takes e5, knight takes e4, pretty much standard. Takes. And yeah, so this is at this point. So when bishop is on b2, you don't have anything like bishop g5. But now we have bishop g5. Is he going to win a pawn here? or maybe black can just move the queen and it's fine. So I was just wondering queen c8, bishop takes c4, and then if I can play knight e5.
Yeah, I prefer this.
Yeah, it looks fine, right? Takes, and you take back, no worries. But we saw f6 in the game, so it's a bit hard to understand like who's playing for what. Knight f6. Maybe black is not happy with the equality or draw. He wants something um, unsymmetrical or uneven thing so that he could press further. Maybe trade queens, get knight d5, knight d2, queen to d5, threatening e3 kind of moves. Bishop f6. So now e3 can be with knight e4. Wait, I just said that, right? So anyway, this pawn is going. So I think this is a miscalculation. E3, knight e4. And now how is okay? Maybe he can take and take on e4 and say that okay, I'm still fine. So e takes f2, queen takes f2, and wow, rook to f8. Now this is seriously, I mean, this is really some serious chess and serious tactics. So the problem was takes. Oops, sorry. Rook d1, bishop e4, and there's a bishop e4. If you go rook e4, there's no point, guys. Rook e4, bishop e4, and we have rook f8. So that's not going to work. Or even you can take on f6. So the main problem is bishop takes e4, and now you drop exchange because the rook is hanging. You can do this or you can do either, and both the cases you're dropping the exchange. But now he has found the idea rook f8, and that is really impressive. Now the bishop is hanging. You cannot really go queen f3, I believe, or you can go queen f3. It's a check, right? So I was calculating this line, which looks very interesting. Knight f6, rook f6, queen f6, queen takes g2, and I thought this king is getting mated. But after rook e8, surprisingly king d3, and there is no rook d8 check. So I was not sure, but I think I have found the mate. So rook e. So maybe you can play rook e8, king to d3, and bishop to e4. And I was looking at rook e4, queen e4, and typical mating pattern of this. And now the king has to step up, and probably this should end the game soon. Rook d1 is there though, and looks pretty scary. So why didn't go for this? He just traded queens, and currently we have this simplified. Okay, he doesn't capture. Look, he's not going for it. He wants to maintain the bishop pair. He wants to get something in return to play for a win.
Yeah.
G3 takes, and finally we have got a very simple position. So his game plan is to play simple chess, to play symmetrical chess, and try to do something in the end game if you get some chance. While Natan is trying to complicate things and have something tactics. So now it will be interesting to see how does he continue from here, because now it's tough decision for him. He goes back and press up. But even if he plays bishop f3, I don't see how he's going to deal with this rook coming in.
Yeah, usually you don't want to let the other bishop get on the long diagonal.
And he finds a way. He says, okay, no worries. I've found a weakness. Thanks to your b3. So let's see. Rook to e7, a4, rook to c7, a b3, a b3, bishop b3, rook to d7. Yeah, as long as he's playing rook f7, he's drawing. Otherwise, he's risking things.
Yeah.
Bishop c6 probably. You take, he takes rook b8, and should be a draw. It is thinking, calculating lines, probably first rook d7 or rook e7. That's also an option. What do you think? Where you will go?
I think I think he'll play rook d7. It's tough to decide whether he'll play rook d or e7, but I think d7. And I think that line you mentioned is somewhat likely to happen. And I,
Uh-huh.
I I think he'll end in a draw as long as Nathan plays rook f7.
All right. So let's call this game as a draw for the moment. And we have got some results in the open section. So let's just quickly jump to the open section. So we have Crusack Matthew with white pieces playing against Myron Norman. And it's a Queen's Gambit. Oh, sorry, it's a semi-Slav, gets converted into semi-Slav. And we have like the main line of semi-Slav. That's really impressive. So, okay, black goes into Kempty Spring, not going into Moscow or Botevnik. And this is what Magnus used to play a lot between 2015 to 2019 period. At d2, pretty much standard. Bishop b4, queen c2, castle, bishop d3, c5. Okay, now why on earth you go back to e7? You just played bishop b4, right?
Yeah, that's odd.
What he was worried about? Was he worried about c5? And maybe he didn't want to give the bishop.
Yeah, the only way to make sense of it is he was worried about. He just didn't want to trade the bishop for knight. That's the only way to make sense of it.
Yeah, so he went back. Bishop d3. Wow, I cannot explain this. The stuff. I mean, you are just love 1, 2, 3, 3 tempos down. And 3 tempos down in a Queen's Gambit kind of setup with this position. Even if he plays knight f3, white would be 2 tempos up. I mean, and surprisingly, okay, no, white doesn't win the game. I mean, white has to win this game. f3, okay, just going for e4 ideas. e6 castle. And e4 comes in. Maybe c5 is a good, interesting option, but with king in center, it's hard to play during the game. Castle takes e. Okay, why you take? Because maybe e5 dc4 is an option, and for this you have got this, but then you have got this, so you don't need to take actually.
Yeah, I love these. I love those setups where you get at least when I play Bullet and Blitz, when you get the e4, e5 d4 structure, and you have your f pawn that can roll up the board, and you have your bishop and queen lined up against the king. It's so pleasant to play.
Yeah, it's just being on the driver's seat and just accelerate, accelerate, accelerate.
Yeah.
So just the queen is misplaced. That once the queen comes to the king side, it will start looking good. So you take and just push f pawn, and black got scared of f5, so himself played f5, allows en paso, and now we have a clear target, and that is clearly better. With knight e5 coming in, wait a second, is this some kind of a mistake?
Yeah, it looks like a free pawn.
Yeah, because knight e5, there's a queen e3 check or queen d4 check as well. So why is he doing that? He could have done knight e2 and like this. And for rook c8, we almost like queen a4 always, attacking both the guys. Or in fact, it's also possible to start with queen a4 here and go something like bishop b5, and the knight is really, really awkward there.
Yeah, I kind of like queen a4 right away.
But knight f3 and queen f4, and now what? Rook e1, fine. So what is the threat? No threat. I mean, only rook e6 is a threat. And I think it's possible to play rook f6 or something. There's just no need to go back with the queen so early. Like, I can see there's knight b5, there's knight e5. So why rush? When you can give it threat, just play rook f6.
Because you're essentially pinning the knight, so yeah, why move it?
Knight e6, queen e2, and now he will keep attacking, and then you keep defending. Typical unpleasant stuff. Oh wow! So bishop b1, and now he opens the diagonal for the queen to create a battery. And after knight f6, there will be knight e5, and that's going to be unpleasant. You do have knight e4 though. He gets bishop a6, queen c2, knight f6, rook f2, and black needs to get knight to e4. If it doesn't happen, then it will be unpleasant. So I think knight b5 is a move. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to trade off pieces here somehow.
And once this happens, black is just a pawn up, I guess.
Yeah, white has nice counterplay though.
And the whole point is knight e5, there's a knight d4, so it doesn't work. So it's hard for white to make progress or make a move even, because black is just going to play rook c8 next and knight e4 next, and he might even delay capturing on c3. Just unpleasant for white, but black goes rook e8, and now, yes, now it's pleasant because you have our rook f6 there. There's no bishop on b7, which means no knight e4, and if no knight e4, then black is going to have tough time. Rook e7 lands into knight g6. So how you're going to defend rook f6 and queen h7? Probably not happening.
Yeah, probably not happening.
And that's why white has won this. Queen d8 was played, rook f6, rook f6, queen h5, and the rest is matter of a technique. Just bring your pieces, attack the king, go queen h8, capture that g7, and also rook e7 not happening, boys. So rook g6 happened, and this is more painful because now the rook is going to join, and just he's not bringing the rook. Okay, he did in this fashion. That is also fine as long as you are winning queen. Life is good.
Yeah, because there's bishop f1.
Ah, my bad. Yeah, I still need to wake up from sleep, I guess. King d6, knight f7, and he gets the queen. Queen at 6, yeah, and just pushes. Come on, improve this. Okay, not interested. He wanted to keep the eye on the a6 pawn and finally gets it. Okay, I think it was a good game from Matthew. Martin had chances here and there, played well in between, but the key move was, I think, knight b5, which he didn't play, and that was important, I guess. Instead of playing passive, it was important to go active. And if black would have played this, things would have been different. There is no knight g5, knight e5 due to knight d4. And yeah, looks pleasant. Maybe this is possible. But now we have knight e4. And this changes the whole dynamics of the position. Or even I was wondering if I could do queen b4 kind of stuff. Because for rook f6, I have queen e1 check. And how you're going to defend all of this. So and rook e1, then knight e4 maybe. And I think black is close to winning even.
Yeah, knight b4 is a really nice move.
Yeah.
Or knight b5, whoops.
Yeah. So that's it from the top board. On board 2, we had Gilbertson Scott against Gahlon Eric. Michael, can you tell something about the players?
Yeah, so Eric, I know, well, his posted is like 1900, so he's a pretty strong player. He's definitely the favorite to win the Open, just like he won last month. But I've actually never played him, but he definitely has a stereotype of drawing games. But I don't think he'll be too happy if he draws games in this field because he's the strongest player. And then Scott, I've never played Scott either, but Scott I think is, I want to say like 12, 1300. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but this should be a heavy favorite for Eric.
Yeah. And they do have a symmetrical English. And Scott says enough of symmetrical. Let's go d4. G6, G3, and okay, they continue to play into the main line. And again, Scott refuses to continue in the most standard fashion, where they can just copy each other. He captures, and still he gets a good position. Bishop b7 is not really the diagonal on which the bishop should belongs to. Usually the bishop belongs to this diagonal. You can start with rook b at first and put some pressure on this. And once the b3 happens, you have got ideas like knight e4 coming in. And it's pleasant. If queen c2, then d5. And that is why it is considered not so good to capture on c6 because of black getting early access to b file. And in case you play rook to b1, also there are some gambit lines like d6 or queen f5, followed by bishop f5, bishop h3, and annoying a bit white. Let's say rook b1, d6, bishop f here, bishop f5. Let's say you go e4, then bishop h3 is there. You go back, then there's queen f5 coming in, bishop h3 coming in, and black is kind of playing for initiative and that two-piece play rather. But instead we saw bishop b7. So now, as you said, Eric is very much into having equal game and exchanging those bishops. But then e4, d6, queen c2. Usually they play bishop e3 and stuff, but queen c2 was played. And is there any trap here? Yeah, there's a trap. So queen c2, there's e5. So guys, watch out for this idea. Many times we see people blunder like this, and bishop g2, there's a e6, and two pieces are attacked suddenly. You think that you're winning your rook, but the whole problem is your rook is hanging. So you have to capture this, and you just lose two pieces, and the game sooner. So watch out for this idea. It's a typical one in many symmetrical English structures, and in general in chess as well. When the bishop is unsupported, especially.
Yeah, that's excellent advice. I've never quite seen that. I didn't know that was so prevalent in English opening, but that's good to know.
Have you ever won a piece in like tactics like this?
You know, I probably have, but it's been so long. I haven't been playing 1000s or 800s in a long time.
But yeah, people do blunder such things in like speed chess, rapid blitz, and stuff like that. So
True. Yeah.
so what is the scenario of rapid and blitz happening in Megapolis?
Sorry,
Like,
what was that?
how often do you play rapid and blitz? It's like you play on weekends, or you have to wait for months or something like that?
For in person or online?
In person, like in a tournament game.
Yeah, that's very rare. Chess Castle, they don't host too many rapid or blitz. They're pretty much just do classical. Yeah, they do like a Wednesday night casual chess at the club for kind of newer players, but I don't go to that. So it's pretty much just classical that I play.
So for professional players, so let's say people with 1900 plus, or for premier section people, they don't have opportunities to play OTB rapid and blitz,
No.
right? So if
Yeah.
only like once in 6 months or something, if there's some event.
Yeah, it's like once every 6 months there'll be like a blitz event.
So like in Mumbai, we have this, not only in Mumbai, but now let's say in all over India, we have a rapid culture. So like, it's like every Saturday, Sunday, and every Sunday, we have like those rapid events, and where like you can see some 10 IMs participating, maybe depending upon the prize fund, maybe a few GMs. And we have like say 20, 30 title players, and let's say with so many people, like 200, 300, at times 500 people participating every weekend. And like we have got a mix of a field, and you get to play all kind of opponents, where you can also get this kind of things.
What's
And
time control for that?
so it depends. So some people keep it 10-5, 15-10. Some people keep 15-5. Back then it used to be 25 as well. And if it's like a 2-day event, then people even go for 25-10 and slow rapid, or 25. If it's a 1-day event, like 10-5 or 15-5 or 15-3, like this.
Because the
So
castle on Monday nights, which is a popular event for the castle, they do 25-10, but it's classical rated technically. It's the it's the fastest possible. Is what I've heard is that's the fastest possible you can rate a classical event is 25-10. So it affects your classical rating and your quick rating, but I don't think of it as rapid.
in US, just 25-10 is classical.
Yep.
Oh wow. Because I think that as much as I remember, for FIDE it has to be 30-second increment for classical for a game less than an hour. So
Mm,
I think the least they could do is 45-30 as per the latest rules. And maybe for like below 1600 or something, 30 plus 30 is also a classical.
yeah. Minnesota
Uh,
rarely has FIDE rated tournaments.
yeah. But 25-10, I don't believe it's a classical. Like, I mean, if you're writing moves, it has to be 30 seconds increment. And okay, I mean, you can make 25-25 and make it classical, but with 10 seconds increment, like it's hard to call it like even a rapid because it's slow. But back then, yes, even I have played in leagues with 25-10. This is like back 10 years ago when like rapid and blitz were like newly rated formats. So they have kept like 25-10 as a format. But then FIDE just made like 15-10 as a standard because we see World Rapid is 15-10 and the World Blitz is 10-3-2. So this is like the standard time control in India for Rapid and Blitz. They
Mm,
just try to follow the FIDE because people has to compete there at the end of the day. Uh, so mostly 15-10 it is or a 3-2.
okay.
Queen C7. But honestly, like something like 25-10, I don't call it a rapid nor classical. And something like 5-3 is not a blitz, but it qualifies for a blitz.
Yeah.
Like so. Okay, that's a definition of different. There's a different definition for different organizations, but I think we should play those tournaments here and there,
Hmm.
or at least organize.
I played Bullet
So,
and Blitz a ton online, but
uh,
I wish there were more Blitz tournaments in Minnesota. But yeah, I like Bullet and Blitz when it comes to online.
yeah, online bullet blitz is perfect. 3-0, 1-0. I think 3-0 blitz is nice introduction by Chess.com. To have it thrice on Thursdays. I think the final one is right now going on, and we do see Magnus Carlsen playing at least one of them every Thursday, more or less.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very good chance for all adult players to get a chance to play against the best players in the world, including Magnus, Hikaru, and so on. Okay, coming back to the game, uh, we have got very decent position, and Scott is keeping simple, and he gets e5. Wow, he allows it because he smells the blood. The two pawns are hanging up along with the bishop under pressure. So he's going to win some material here. Wait, knight a4, knight e5, and there is no knight c5, right? So I was looking at bishop c4, but wait, knight c5, can I just do rook takes? What's happening? Knight c5. So I was looking at bishop c4 at the beginning. Then I saw there's a takes possibility takes, and this is not really happening because a1 hangs at the end of the day. f4, really? So the new idea is knight c4, bishop g7, king g7, and then knight c5 just lands into queen b6. So game over. Bishop f1. Okay, just things are not gonna work. It could have also started with. No, it's not happening. Queen f5 is not happening. Yeah. So knight a3, rook takes a3, bishop takes f1, and white is the upper piece, right? I don't see anything. So he just played like this and won the game. Wow.
Hmm. At least black has a lot of pawns, but ooh, no.
Even the queens get traded, and he wins it. That is more surprising. And I can just see there's a small tactic here, knight d7, rook at knight f6.
Hmm.
E6 and now how on earth Black has won this. Like simply, you can go rook a1, rook d7, and it's just so unpleasant for black. Like you have to literally go something like rook to 8 or something. You cannot defend this pawn otherwise.
Yeah, this is. I don't know how this turned around.
And there's also, I think, he's getting back the pawn, like knight s6, or you can just go rook a6 and make black's life even more miserable. But then, and he played rook a1. We went rook to b8, and white black has won this. So I think Scott really needs to work upon his endgame skills. Oh, wow. I hope he doesn't get made checkmated here. Rook c2, and that's now annoying. He defended though, but now h5 is coming. Knight e3 captures king h1. And even now moves like h4 are annoying, and you end up losing this kind of positions. So rook e2, I don't know what exactly is doing with it. Can't I capture it?
I don't see why not.
Like just check, and you go here, and you go here, you have got rook f3.
Yeah.
He captures and loses. Ah, what?
No.
Why? Just why?
Yeah, and you can't say he missed a backwards knight move because he was planning to take back on d1 with the knight.
Uh,
That's
why? I mean, just
unfortunate.
why? And this must have been very painful. When he will say this, that he had knight f1 and he had got some winning chances, maybe draw with h4 coming in, but he'll be very, very annoyed when he will go back home and or check out the stream when he missed knight f1 and he simply had rook f3. Maybe it's a draw on the spot because there's a rook b2 as well in some lines, but still it is not like you're not forced to draw. Like you can keep white tied down, but still you cannot force to draw. Still there will be chances like rook d6, rook d7, rook c7. But we see white blundering knight, and now it's gone because 2 points down is lost. Game over. He resigns.
Yeah. A bit of a shocker, but even though that is sad for Scott, at least he put up a good fight with a higher rated opponent.
Yeah. Still, it was a good game for Scott considering his rating. For sure, he did not play at 100 level. He played much above it, at least 200 to 300 points higher. Okay, all right. Now, let me just quickly check out the live boot positions and then we'll select. So white is down to 7 minutes here with threat of rook f6. And I don't see any good way of defending it. It's just over, I think. So black is thinking. He has got 46 minutes. So he's going to take some time here. Until then, we'll check out Jules. Sorry, Kevin Landman versus Jules Bilmeyer. And white is completely winning, but let's see. So we have our first King's Indian today. Going into Samish variation. And this is very popular. I think Magnus is the one who made this popular against Samish. To go early knight c6 and say white, come on, push those pawns, create some weakness. Bishop e3, knight d7. Again, motivating black to push those pawns. And I think now we can do that because knight e5, f4, there's no knight g4.
Yeah. And what I like to do, this is what I played there. Well, I haven't played d4 in a while, but when I played d4, I would play the same-ish in the King's Indian against the King's Indian here because I like big centers. And whenever black blocks the c8 bishop, I always like to play knight h3 and knight f2 because that was what one of my first chess coaches taught me. So I think here knight h3 might be a move for white.
Yeah, it's a good idea. It's a typical Samish move, and you don't want to really develop knight from e2 because it blocks the bishop, and this makes sense to do like this. But right now, I think d5 is the best move because for knight e5 we can simply go f4, and if black has to go back, then we are doing good, pretty good.
Yeah.
22 is also typical Samish, but now e5, d5, knight d4 is better and pleasant. Knight b4. Why? I mean, when you can just put your knight on d4, why not you're going to b4? So never do this, Mr. Jules. And now look at the knights. I mean, I'll resign if I press b4. So it's a king's Indian player. What my knights are doing, it's so bad. He plays c6, sacrifices a pawn, and loses. Bishop c4 coming next. GG. Just queen b2, knight a4, watch over. And black cannot even castle, short or long. Wow, he castles? I mean, how? How you can be so careless?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, nothing much to say about this game. Black just played badly, straightforward. Takes. And easy win for white. No drama, nothing. Just trade. And win. Okay, so this is how the game ended, and black got some. Okay, black played till here and resigned. I think good game by Kevin, though Jules got a good position after e5. He could have just continued with knight d4, and he was completely fine there, but after knight b4, it was just a very, very good position for white.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we have a result. Okay, maybe we'll check out the result later, because black made some moves, Jeremy rather. Okay, let's see this from beginning to understand it better. Other queen pawn game, but this time the e3 poison. And usually they play knight c6 in this kind of positions. And the whole point is after queen takes. And there are some draws, like some stupid draws here. Like knight b4. And okay, you need to defend this. And there is some kind of a rook b8, queen takes pawn, and rook c8.
Yeah.
This kind of draws. But okay, it's up to black to decide to take and to have some fun or just make draw.
Yeah, I've seen this idea before, yeah.
So this is something which you should play here. If it goes early queen b3 and you have not played c6, it's a time to strike. It's your opportunity to do something. But of course, Jamie doesn't know this. He could have captured on f3. Usually the right continuation is knight e5 followed by knight c3. Because if you give chance to do this, I think black is doing actually better. And he just blunders pawn in the middle of the board. What can I say about it? You have chance to play bishop f3. You have chance to play c6 and just, say, okay, everything is all right. But no, you just blunder.
And I don't know what to make of that, because he's like 1700. He's a good player, so maybe he played too fast, because when he blundered that pawn, he still had like all of his time left. So
yeah, and what's Daryl's rating?
Daryl, he's an improving player, but he is like 1300.
Come on. So I think what you said is right, but the way they are playing, it looks like white is 1700 and black is 1300.
Yeah, it does look reversed.
Well, who has won this game? This game is going on. And now he allows queen h3. Wow. Rook a6 is coming.
Yeah.
And these people are not scared about rook h6. He plays f3. Okay. Even for queen b7, we can play like h6 and it's game over. Capture and you go knight b8, finish. So f3 is forced. You need to get rook f2. Rook to e8. Queen to c2. Rook h6. Rook f2. Can I play bishop f4? Not yet. There's a bishop f1 and take as well. So I think white is in control. Why not just d4? F4 is hanging, so bishop g4 first. Knight d5, and this is what I did not like. Like now, it's not possible to defend these people.
Yeah,
And,
now it gets difficult.
and it was better to give the f4 than giving e3, but he gives the e3 pawn, and he doesn't, and black doesn't take it because knight 3. There's a trap, rook e1. Oh my gosh! And the knight. There's a bishop f4 as well. Is he going to play queen f5 here?
But you can still take the queen because bishop f8 and
Ah,
the knight
yeah,
guard
exactly.
d4. Yeah.
There's no bishop b4, yeah? Knight b4 is there. So you can't even do this. But Jeremy doesn't take his chance. He goes rook g6, threatening h5, rook g2. Now also I think he can take, there's no rook e1 at least. Why you play queen f6? Why? Just why?
Yeah. That's odd.
You can even take rook e3 if you don't like knight e3. Yeah, but please don't do queen f6. Like I cannot explain then such moves. So many missed chances from black. And now even e4, yeah, directly, and you resign. Rook g1 was played. This gives chance to play queen e4 and hope to have little chance in the endgame, but this has to be losing. You cannot allow rook g7 and hope to survive. I would have played this.
Style points.
Yeah, and f6, maybe rook h7. No. Rook h and king h7 is there. So bishop f6, still not working. No style points. Maybe e4, yeah. But then there's a queen f4. Come on, it's not working. Okay, just take on f5 and take on d7 and just win. So instead he played queen f5, rook f5, bishop c3, probably transposes after f6. Rook f7 is also fine. Bishop e7, as long as you're playing d6, life is good. Even rook g7. You capture on b7. So at the end, you have to capture on b7 to win this. And in my version, this was better because then you had rook b8 check with king on h8 and bishop on g7. Sorry, on e7 or d6. Okay, it's fine, I think. And now white is thinking because I don't know because why I don't see anything coming here. c7 rook e8 rook b8 is also winning.
Yeah. And obviously if rook e2, you just play king g1.
Yes, or even some style points with rook g7.
No more style points.
No more style points, no style
Not
today.
for 1300. If you're 2000, go ahead. But
Not for 1100. Good point. So it's thinking because it's 1300. So let's wait. He has got 3 minutes on the clock. Okay, let's try to find alternate way, or let's try to find 1300 way.
you mean like a 1300 move?
Yeah, how they think about converting this. So we already denied the style points with rook g7 and c7. So if not c7, what else?
Have we looked at bishop e2, d2?
King g2. Yeah, I was able to guess it. So bishop d2, I think, yes, it's working, but maybe he thought he could give a perpetual after this. Took.
Oh yeah, good
They
point.
don't do style, yeah?
More
They
style.
even do, yeah, no style stuff. So they just, they just smooth the king. They just say, okay, give me checks, but no perpetuals.
Yeah, and this is smart because Black's king is restricted, and we're just gonna promote our C pawn.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the rook is not here, so it's not really gonna work. Rook c4. Wait a sec. I just saw a line rook c4. Like this could be a possible blunder. Like you play c7, okay, and you try to go for style points, but then suddenly rook e8 comes, and you completely forgot about this rook, and you play rook b8. And now, oh, bad luck. White still wins because the bishop hangs.
Hmm.
So even if white wants to blunder, he cannot blunder in this position. That good is white's position. So he'll end up winning this.
Yeah, he just needs to watch out because he's low on time.
Yeah, exactly. So any 1700 trap here, if black would put. And this was the last one. I could see.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw one idea. So
Yeah.
maybe, but it's not working actually. Maybe we can start with a check. You go to f2. Okay. And we can start. So initially I thought we can go to key8, but then again the c7 and the same problem happens. And this is not really improvement because we can give this check, but then again he will be queening. So we can play bishop c5 directly and put 1300 in trouble.
Yeah, and this looks scary, especially with 3 minutes.
So this could be one option. We can give a check. But after rook g4 check, there is a king f1 as well. And maybe you can just repeat.
Yeah, I think Jeremy should. Oh no.
And so maybe he's going for this idea. He don't
Maybe.
want to make a draw. He still want to win this. So let's try to find some nice mate here. So rook d7, rook d7. I mean, he can give checks and go here. And I think it's just game over. At least I don't see anything. But still there's a rook e3 and rook e2. Wow, is it a perpetual? No, he can go down. And that could lead to loss as well. So how
Yeah.
do we win after this?
Yeah, I don't know if we do it anymore. This is, yeah, not so simple as it seemed.
Yeah. So I think the conclusion is style is important. Otherwise, you can lose. And with Remis, I mean, there's a very good chance to lose this. Oh wait,
Wait.
he's going for this.
Yeah, I want to play, if the bishop ever goes to d6, I want to play like rook bg7 and bishop b4 to trade the bishops on.
Wow. So now at least he's having perpetual, just these things. And this is not looking good.
Yeah, if this ends in a draw, I'm sure Dale will be a little disappointed because he was winning, but at least, if it does end up being a draw, he drew a player who's like 400 points higher rated, so that's not so bad.
Yeah, but still, whether Jeremy might even try for a win here. Like with 2 minutes on the clock, drawing a pocket, one wrong. I mean, he's going to give the right checks, I believe, and one wrong move of the king may even lead to checkmate. Imagine the pawn coming to f5. Okay, there's a checkmate here as well, but imagine that check coming with, let's say, bishop d6, king g4, and f5 coming in, and somehow you mess that up. You might even lose there. Like one line I could see, let's say pass, or let's say a4, bishop d6, king g4, f5, and you go here and I go here, and it's very easy to lose such kind of position. But still, I don't see a mate.
Yeah, me neither.
Not even a perpetual, because this, and then king escapes. So it's going to be a fun ride here. So let's stick to this one. He goes king g4. He's very much scared about king. He heads checks.
Yeah.
What I can see from this is white is tremendous under pressure here. He's even ready to allow f5 check. But don't give me that check with bishop is what he's saying here. And I think white black has now at least a draw with repetition.
Yeah, I think you should go for that too. I don't think black has anything better now, so
I think he can try still some kind of a bishop d6 and rook f4 stuff, you know.
yeah, maybe he will. Yeah.
I'm
And,
rooting for black. If black makes draw here, I will be disappointed.
but then wait. Can white bishop d6, rook bg7, king f8, rook f7, rook takes f6?
Yeah, and I'm hoping for something to work out.
Mm.
Maybe still check sun, still fine, yeah. Like draw is something the least I could do as black. Being 1700, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I know if I know the sentiment. Like, what a mistake I've made. I think I've gotten better at it, but I have a bad tendency to when I'm playing someone lower rated than me, if I'm in like a losing position, but I
mhm.
can force a draw similar to this, I'll still try to play for the win, even though I have no business, and I should just make the draw. And then that's how I lose games and lose more points.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be the game of the day. I think all three results are possible still. Let's stick to
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
We are already playing. You can just have a look quickly. I think this game is going to be a time pressure for 88 towards the end. And wait, what happened in Team Jordan game? So whose move is this? It's black to play and it's lost. Usually it's lost. Such kind of positions. As long as the rook doesn't get back to here or here, it's lost. But let's see. It's going to be a long game. But I want to stick to this. And then, of course, we'll come back to the queen versus rook endgame. So my question to you, Michael, is can you guess the move for Jeremy?
okay. Guess the move. I don't. I don't think he's gonna risk it. I think he's just gonna play rook g2.
Okay, so I'll help you with the candidate options and blunders. So, of course, this is one of them, and you just make a draw. Maybe some kind of a bishop d6 or something like f5 blunder is also possible. Like bishop d6 rather, mainly. But
Yeah. I think rook g2 is right though. I mean, I obviously I haven't calculated everything, but my gut says rook g2.
okay, and if you're playing black here against Daryl Bimberg, what you would have done?
The new me might go rook g2. The old me definitely is playing like bishop d6. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I probably give myself too much credit. I probably would go.
Rook
I
g2.
probably would go f4, like f5 or bishop d6, but it just doesn't make sense. Not enough sense.
Yeah, because f5 is really risky. After that, you don't have really perpetual because king g5, king f6 is also coming.
Yeah,
And this pawn could be served as an umbrella. So this is the time to decide to make a draw or to gamble it.
Jeremy's doing the right thing though. He's taking his time.
It's taking his time. Child under pressure. Somewhere deep within him might be thinking, oh no, I loved the perpetual track, you know. I had my chance, I was completely winning. Why didn't I push the pawn and win it? Maybe
You
he
know,
missed the study.
it's an interesting concept because like the whole concept of being okay with a draw, even though you don't lose points from the draw. Because if you're
Mhm.
willing to accept that, you're really playing for the long run. Because in the long run, if you take draws when you know you're losing, even against lower rated opposition, that'll save you points over like a couple year span.
Yeah, definitely.
It's kind of like for the present, all discipline seems painful. But
Okay, I'll ask you a different question. Let's take a wild guess. What do you think? How long Jeremy is going to think here? Ah, he just played it.
oh, oh, now we can guess how long
Oh,
Daryl.
wait, is this a live position? I mean, how does the king go when he went it so far? Okay, he played king g4, he went check,
He
he went
did
here.
go rook g2. Yeah, yeah,
Ah,
he's
he's
going for the
just going
draw.
for check. No, that's not fun.
It's mature.
But the rating is not mature yet. And you know the funniest blunder could be, let's say, he captures, okay. He gives a check. He goes to g6. He gives a check. He goes to g5, and Jeremy thinks he's getting the pawn. We are heading towards it, and he gets checkmated in one.
Yeah, maybe.
But okay, if he just gives checks, then it's a draw.
But even if you do that, even if you don't see checkmate, you're still down 2 pawns. So
Yeah. So sorry, guys. Unfortunately, it's going to be a draw because you cannot do much for perpetual or the harassing checks. All right, so let's move to the Team Jordan game where they are playing Rook versus Queen. And I think this is I'm seeing for the first time as a commentator on a stream.
yeah, I don't know if I've seen this in Thursday Night either.
So shall we
Jordan
go back?
Jordan
Okay.
swindled him, just like I predicted a draw, but it doesn't surprise me that much that Jordan swindled him.
And he just blended a rook, like it's just getting finished in like 2 moves. You
Yeah,
go to it's a mind file and it's done. So let's see how we get this from a drawn aim game. So we left it around here, not really here, but up to g4. We said he must play this, and of course Danny didn't go for it. He went b5, nor c5, nor rook g5, nor king e7. Created more weakness, allowed rook e5, and now this gives some chances because it's risky, and so h5 might come. And he has won the game. Now, what side of this move? He wants to play rook g2 and rook g7 or what? Not really. He's just going king d3, b3, c4 maybe. But to me, like it looks like black is doing well here. And we see white has won this. Like we can even capture this. Who cares about this pawn? Just get your king like this.
yeah. Or will he do that?
He goes back and still wins this. Come on. Man, just play rook e4, get those pawns. a3 and and he plays b4. He doesn't play this. He plays this. How then black lose from upper pawn? Like I mean, even if you go this, and you get the pawn, yeah, or at least a draw with this check and rook d5. I mean, black can easily play form in like a2, rook takes a2, rook e4. Now you think that okay, he got a check. He goes here. Okay, takes makes no sense. And king d6, we have got rook here, and now you move the king. Okay, this is a blunder, and now you get rook d5, you get the pawn, and you can easily continue with rook here, and even go back, sacrifice the rook, and try to push those 2 pawns with king's help. It's still a draw, but now it's white who has to be accurate. But instead, we went for rook g1, which is also fine, as long as you are playing rook a1 and a2. Why you are giving checks? Buddy, just go here, push a2, and enjoy.
Yeah. No.
He even gets a better version of what we expected. And now just play f5 or f6. f6 is, I think, safe choice, but there's a check, which is annoying. So f5, he captures, and he loses this. How? You can even play this. Or rook a2 is coming now. And that's why he lost. But, you know, the problem with king f5 is Rook takes a2, and now if you capture, of course, queen, so you think that you can kill this, but the problem is really this. Your
Yeah.
king is cut off accidentally just because you played e4 carelessly. So here you needed to play this kind of a move. And after b7, the right way to make draw was king f4.
Yeah.
And now you never blunder that kind of things, and you just make draw. He goes king c7. Of course, you can do all this kind of a business and force him to work upon it, building a bridge and then to capture. But even if you play e4, it's a draw because the king is very far, and it's just a draw with the typical endgame idea. Instead, he pushes pawn without calculating lines. He was low on time, and that was a factor, yes. And now b7, and now he cannot play king f1 nor e3. Maybe e3 is possible, but rook a2, and to me, it looks losing because the pawn hangs. But maybe it's possible to make a draw with this. And so, okay, there's a technique. So let me tell the viewers. So you play e3, let's say, and you play rook into e2, and now you just play rook here. And after he goes rook e2, okay, he cannot go rook a3 because e2. So he goes here, and you think that the problem is rook b3, rook a3. But now you have got checks. And whenever the king leaves the pawn, you go and attack it. So he has to go back and you attack. So you keep on attacking until he goes to b8. If he goes here, we can again do this. And okay, we can get this position by force. And the moment he goes in front of the pawn, that time you can defend it. And again, he comes out, you can again start checking. And this is how you can make a draw. But wait, there's a rook b2 here. And we cannot get the pawn, right? So bad formation. Now we don't have this as well. Otherwise, it's a draw. But suddenly, it's a b and e combination. And we cannot get the pawn. But this has to be a draw as much as I remember. So wait a second. So b1. Or maybe we have to go to b3 here. But it will not change things, right? You go here, I go here, you go here, you're here, you're here. And can I get my king here? Yeah, this is the way, yeah. So king e7, and for rook e7, I can just go this.
Yeah.
And after this, okay, there's no check, and the king cannot come out, and we make a draw. So this is the only way to make a draw in this kind of position, which is really difficult to find if you do not know in time pressure. So better is just play king f5, king f4. Get the king first, and then you push the pawn. Don't blindly push the pawn because then you can lose in rook versus queen. And even if in this position, if you could get your rook to e6 or something like that, you can still draw this. But it's not happening because it's not a magical rook. It's a normal rook. So you're going to lose it in some checks. Rook queen b1, and he tried going somewhere, and he lost the pawn, of course, to save the rook. And okay, now it's a rook versus queen, which has to be a loss. Okay, he just allowed this, and he just plundered right away. Like, he could have kept on playing for some moves, but no time for him. Maybe rook here and rook here was the right way to continue a bit, or rook f8, but this just landed into this. And now queen d7, and he was cut off to the first rank. And now it's gone. Losing the rook right away. So we do have a Jeremy going on.
This is what we're talking about.
And wait a sec. What happened after this? King g6, rook to check, king f6. And now he did not give this check. He doesn't want to make a draw. He wants him to run out of these things. Okay. So now he's completely winning. But he had only 2 minutes to decide which way to continue. And now he's threatening a mate. Rook g6 here. Here. Wait a second. Why don't you go here? You can just go king e4, right? And now whichever gives you a check, you just go here.
Yeah.
Or attack the rook and you win it. But no, he wanted to give this. I know, come on. Just go king d3 and the game ends. There's no defense for this. You give a check, you go here, you give a check, you go here. Or here, you go here, and it just resigns. But now they want to play this endgame, which is also completely lost for Jeremy. He could have started with bishop d4, making things even worse. Oh, sorry, it's a blunder. And maybe he was hoping for this. b7, bishop c5, and what?
No, no.
What? Michael's hand speaks for itself, guys.
Not good. Not good.
I mean, why? I mean, just why? You could have put your bishop on g7 as well, e5 as well, e1 as well, and then g3 and then c7 or whatever. Yeah, just anything. Even if you do this, you are winning. But why on earth you play bishop f6?
He probably wanted bishop f6, bishop e8.
That was so sick. And maybe this is still a draw if you play b4, a4. And the king is very far, so.
Yeah,
But I don't think this is happening. It's going to be a win for black.
Whatever happens, it's game of the day still.
Yeah, and I think the best would be like, they get into rook bishop and and Daryl Brenderson 49th move to lose
That
this
would be
one.
bad.
Like, I saw my rapid was going on and a grandmaster was playing against an IM, and they had like a rook, if I'm not wrong, bishop for white and a pawn. Okay, let's say something like this with king on f3, rook on d5, bishop on d3, let's say pawn on f4 and king on f3, and black had like king on e7, knight on f6, and rook on e6. Okay, so it's a draw. So like it's a rook bishop and pawn versus rook and knight. And they kept on playing this for so many moves, like they used to play 30-40 moves, and then white used to push a pawn. Then you again used to play 30-40 moves, and then used to push a pawn. And then this continued. They played like 150 moves, and then eventually he got the knight. And then it was rook bishop versus rook. So another 50 moves, and after 40 moves, he calls the arbiter to check the moves, and then they check moves, and then still some moves left. Then they play some more moves, and then the game ends in a draw.
Crazy.
And this was all happening on the GT board. So they could claim a draw, or they could count a number of moves.
Yeah.
And all we had to wait like so long for the next round. And they're like, come on, you cannot play another 30 moves by pushing a pawn. Again pushes, like it's a draw. But you cannot force a draw in that. You just have to keep playing. And it was a so long game. I remember this happening once, and Hikor was complaining about it. Like, so it was me actually playing against one Russian grandmaster, and I was like dead lost. Like, I was almost resignable. Like, I first survived to checkmate, then I was like piece down or a 2-3 pawn storm, then I survives, and my opponent remains with rook bishop and a pawn, and then I gets the pawn somehow, and then we land into a rook and king versus rook bishop, and I had to defend that in title Tuesday with 1 second increment.
Ooh.
And I defended like so well. Like we play 50 move, and then the game ends in a draw by chess.com automatically, because we made everyone wait so long. And then I read the Hikaru chat. and yeah, then like it was like so long game. I think that game is there in Mega Database or something.
And Hikaru shouldn't be talking because he had that like 800 move game. Did you hear about that?
He was not blaming me. He was like, building the system. So it was like, when
Yeah.
he keep C+2, it was like 2020 or 2019, something like that. He was like, when there's a 3+2 increment, and some sooner or later, after 3-4 rounds, sooner or later, every single game or every alternate round, we will get this kind of end games, whether it's a rook bishop versus rook or rook knight versus rook, and the game would just go on for 50 moves, and everyone has to wait for more than 10 minutes. Like the difference between the 2 rounds becomes 15 minutes only instead of 10.
Yeah.
And the event doesn't end on a time, and then it becomes not so good for idle players to play 11 rounds or something. And he was like putting his opinions, which was kind of right. And then they reduced the time control to 3-1, making it more interesting and more dangerous for players to play such kind of games. And then it was difficult to defend with 1 second increment, because at times you have to make some pre-moves or make some moves. You might have seen, I think, the recently very nice clip from Tata Steel, where eventually literally made two moves out of 1 second
Oh, I
and
didn't see that.
and
No.
managed to win that game.
Wow.
Like there's no increment, right? Till move 14. And he had to make two moves to cross that move 40 mark, and he just made it at that age. It
Yeah.
was incredible. And like all people were just watching whether he gets flagged or not. Like when if you are 20th century for the arbiter, you are chief arbiter, you are just waiting if you can make that 40 moves or not.
The game I'm thinking of Hikaru was, I think it was 2025. I think it was just last year, and he was playing this lower rated guy entitled Tuesday, and the guy wouldn't resign, even though he was completely lost. So that annoyed Hikaru, and Hikaru like literally, I think the game went like 600, 800 moves. I don't remember exactly, but out of this world long, and he
So
delayed the
Hikaru,
round by like 10, 15 minutes, and he finally checkmated the guy.
so he
Yeah.
made a new record.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. When this happened recently?
Yeah, I think last year.
Ah, that's good. So here I think he missed a chance of making a draw, if I'm not wrong. There was an a5 coming in. And what I calculated was there's a rook c to check, and we have been poking b5, and now it's just a draw. And rook c5, there's a king b6, and it's a draw. There's nothing discovered attack, and he missed a simple drawing chance of a5.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a drawing chance means he has to play. He has to hold this, which he will not, of course. Rook bishop versus rook, and now it's lost. Rook gets to f5, and it's game over. It's a right pillar pawn. Meanwhile, ED is also playing, so let's check out what's happening over there. So we left it around here, and we left it around after bishop f3, saying that a5, f4 is one idea. Idea with rook d7. He goes rook d4, prevents a4, kind of slows down, so he can take after a4. And Nathan plays rook a7, not allowing any rook to the seventh rank. ADB like, I want my rook on seventh rank, whatever happens.
Hmm.
He gets it. And now this is not the right way to play for a win. This is how you risk losing, guys. Please don't do this. Just play a4. I mean, there's nothing much you can do about now. This is going to come. You cannot play bishop e8 and win this. Unless you're Magnus. And this is just risking losing. Now b4 or something. And it's unpleasant. This is hanging. This is under pressure. This is weak. Checks are coming. Like this is possible. So definitely unpleasant for Nathan. And AD with 1 minute advantage, definitely having some chances here. What do you think? AD will be happy with draw, or he'll be pushing for a win?
I mean, I think Eddie's happy with the draw. Um, but yeah, I mean, and I think the game will end in a draw. But I always say that, and it always seems to end in a win.
For either of the sides.
Yeah, for either of the sides.
Okay, so this is officially lost now.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is definitely gone. Wait, he allows a5? Come on. He would have just gone anywhere, like, and just prevented that. But no. Probably they want me to teach rook bishop versus rook today. So what? Okay. Will he play a5?
I think so. Ah.
We are going into rook bishop versus rook.
Uh,
Okay, I predict it's going to be a win for black.
yeah. Yeah, I do too. Unfortunately, I hope Daryl holds, but
I just hope it does not blunder with king c4, king a4 here.
that's possible. Unfortunately,
Yeah. So the only right move is king b3. If you go any other square, you lose. Will you find it?
what's wrong with King C3?
King c3, I think b5 just.
Hmm.
Like there would be a check at the wrong moment and the black serves the pawn. And you don't have time to do this a6, a7. With king b3, the pawn would be straightly attacked and b4 would lead into a6 and you cannot stop a7. Other line, you could stop a6 by playing rook f6 and you go rook here and you can put bishop like this and you win it slowly, slowly,
Okay.
for instance. And this could be a very tempting blunder. So let's see. Wait, don't tell he loses sometime. Please, please, no.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Because king f4, come on. I mean, okay. So it just ends. Yeah, it just ends quickly. And it's trust me, it's less painful losing like this than losing in rook bishop versus rook.
Maybe, yeah.
Like
Wow,
150 more losses, 200 more losses are more painful than 60, 70 more loss.
yeah, I can see that. This was a topsy-turvy game.
Yeah. And yeah. So it's going to be it. Now let's head to the last live game, which is AD versus Nathan. He has already dropped a pawn, and is what I'm seeing is correct. He's losing the second pawn as well. Oh, so AD just chopped it right away. Rook c6, rook f7 is the tactic here, and the rook endgame is lost. So he decided to again go something like, oops, what did he play? He's still in shock. Disbelief that he lost a pawn even after saving it. The right move would have been king here, and he would have made a draw, or at least not lost a pawn. So the point was, if you go king g8, you cannot play bishop c6 because you can capture. Oops, sorry. And the whole point is after rook takes f7, you have two options. Either you capture on c3. Yeah, you have only one option, sorry. And then just like this. Now you have two options. But still, this looks scary to me. Like, this is coming. You can also start with rook c5 check to make things even worse. And now you have to go to b6. And many times, even these endgames are difficult to hold.
Yeah.
But okay, should be draw technically.
Well, this game is finishing up. I just checked through the games, and it looked like the only game we hadn't seen the end of was Jacob Picus versus Kyler. Board 3.
Okay. Okay, so queen c8 happened after that. And this, of course, was hanging. Rook g2 back, queen b5 is also hanging. And like as you said, both the pawns will drop, and yeah, white sealed the game.
Yeah, and he could have played on longer, but 2 pawns down against a strong opponent, it's fair to
Yeah,
resign.
and more importantly, no counterplay.
Yeah.
Wait a sec. Takes, and can I just go knight e5? I thought. My point is, like, you cannot say move the bishop because the hang. So you play c4, and now rook c8, and you don't have b3. But maybe rook d4, and you are doing good. So initially, I thought only this, and I saw some tactics. But after this, I think it's gone.
Yeah.
Maybe it's still possible to continue with something like this, but and hope that he blunders, but just lost after this.
Yeah, maybe play b4. Yeah.
Yeah, even before. So finally he captured, and we are having that trick. And now, if it is lost with one pawn, for sure it's lost with one pawn up, like one pawn each. I'm saying. So he must capture. He captures, and then rook c5. He'll be forced to go back to b. Then you play b4 and just bring the king and GG.
Yeah, you should win this. But we've had so many crazy turnarounds that you never know.
Yeah.
But I feel like Eddie's a fairly well-rounded player. He's a 2000 level player.
Mhm.
He should win.
Yeah, I think he's gonna win this. And the time also speaks like that. Like Eddie is playing pretty fast last few moves. They had an even equal time around here when they reached the second game. After that, Eddie also got some time on the clock, and he was playing fast. So 7 minutes to 2 minutes should be win for white with one extra pawn, one healthy extra pawn, I would say. Now before you cannot really do the horizontal or lateral defense because eventually you lose to rook c5. But maybe wait a sec. So I was just looking at rook f5, b4, and king e7, but then rook c7 is there. So you cannot really even hope for that. So you just do this, and you play rook c5 and you win this. This is the live position, and Nathan is thinking to play here, or something like rook d7 and rook d3.
I think he'll go rook f5.
Yeah, but that just loses to b4, yeah?
Yeah,
But rook f5, maybe b4, rook d5, like that also possible.
so he does rook
He's
d7.
going to active defense, which is not good idea here, I believe, because it's a b pawn. If it's a pawn, yes, some drawing chance, but with b pawn, it just lost.
Yeah, now I'm
Because-
just gonna play like king f4.
And the main factor is the king is not active. That's the whole problem. So just go king f4, king e5, and seal this.
And
But even
it's possible Nathan's simuling tonight. We only see the one game from him, but he's often playing a game in the premier section and a game in the open section just to fill a spot so no one gets a half point by. So maybe he's so low on time because he's simuling again.
yeah, and also I believe here there's one idea for black. So let's say king f4, you go rook d3, and something like rook c5 or whatsoever, or king e5 whatsoever. He can play b4 and at least try to get rook behind the pass pawn. And that is what he's trying to do here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it makes some sense to even start with one b4 first.
Yeah, fix the structure.
Yeah, and white can decide to lose the c pawn at the right moment like this, and then just go for checks and push. So some ideas are there, but generally it's winning for white. And I think it is going to take its time being an experienced player.
Yeah, and Eddie loves to use his time. He's one of the most famed players at the castle for getting in time trouble.
Yeah, who has used, I would say, who has used every single second given for all the events till date in the right way.
Are you are you a fast player when you play classical, or do you think you're kind of balanced? Or
Back then, I used to be calm in time pressure, more or less always, because I used to think a lot, and I had this habit of finding the best move every single time, every single position, and also I used to start playing much better in time pressure, because when I was young, I like in Mumbai, I grew playing all this rapid events,
Hmm.
every Sunday. So I used to play in those time pressure. And back then, if you talk about 15 or 20 years back, we didn't used to have even digital clocks on all boards. So back when I was 1800, 1900, I used to even play on analog clocks. And there used to be like a severe time pressure. So no extra time, no bonus time. So it was to be real thrill, real thriller. So I've played all this time control with sudden death. I've even played 2 hour each classical without increments. So, and of course, I mean, after 2010 or 13, when Digi 2010 came into the market and we had all digital clocks on all boards. I haven't played with that little increment and all this. So I used to enjoy that ride of having in time pressure and finding the best moves. And so I don't used to mind coming in time pressure because then it used to be easier for me to just play the moves because I have already calculated so many things. But then over the period of time, I changed my style a bit and learned the fact, or rather, I got matured and understood that this is not really great, even if the district does it every single time. And though you are a world blitz champion, or no matter how good you are in time pressure handling situations, you should not get into absolute time pressure situations every time just because you are good at it. And I started playing fast from the beginning, and then life was easier. I think
Yeah,
less stressful, but also less enjoyable.
yeah, no, I understand. I have a similar story where I used to be really slow when I played classical, and I would always try to find the best move, and I would spend too much time and probably double check things and calculate lines that were just never going to happen or weren't realistic. But I've gotten better over the last, I don't know, year maybe at playing faster and not getting into so much time trouble.
Yeah, and uh, those were the interesting days. And I remember one, I mean, and it used to be very, very common. Like, I'm having like a minute left on the clock, and my opponent's like 200, 300 points higher. They are having like an hour on the clock, 45 minutes, 30 minutes. And I'm playing with that little 30 seconds increment with 1 minute on the clock for like an hours and hours and even winning those games. So those used to be once I even went down upon in like an open tournament in the FIDE Master, and I was like 22,000 rating or something. So
Oh,
then it continued winning in even the Asian Championship. I won the gold medal there, and I was playing against Turkmenistan number one IM, and similar incident happened. It was a crazy sharp Sicilian, and I'm down to like seconds, and he's having like 45 minutes. He's like, come on, with attack on both sides, no way I'm gonna lose this. And he plays fast and gets busted, gets checkmated.
wow.
Even one incident I remember was I was playing a university event, and okay, by then I was like 2400 level or 2300 level, and I just tried some new opening, and I was absolutely slow. Okay, I was playing some 300 points lower opponent, and I was absolutely low on clock, and and suddenly in that event, because it's a university event, there was no digital clock. It was analog clock, and I realized, okay, my like I have got 1 minute left on the clock, and there is no increment. Usually there's increment, and suddenly I have to play now without increment, and it's a middle game position. Like even if I have to win, I have to play 35, 40 moves, and I'm
Yeah.
not even a pawn up. It's like completely equal. And then I started playing with the crazy speed, and the game went into like with two queens on both sides, and so something, 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 and somehow I managed to win with 4 to 5 seconds left on the clock
Oh, wow.
from the middle game. Like and I must win for my team. Like if I do not win, I mean my team is losing.
That's a good
And
feeling.
I was too slow. I was too slow that day. I don't know why. I was just thinking, double checking, triple checking. And for no reason, I played some new line. And then I have to find the best moves. I don't know what to do. And then I have to win. But wait, this is not going that well for. Oh, why? Because now the rook has to come back to c3. Still winning, but now there are some chances of frontal defense.
Yeah, that's a
Going back.
good plan by Nathan at least.
Yeah. That's why it was important to. Ah, he did not give a chance. He did play b4 directly. Uh, yeah, so what can it be done? Nothing could be done. C5, rook d3 is coming, c4, rook d3 is coming, so you don't have time to come back in time. So king e5 will be played, rook takes pawn. This never works. We always have checks, so he has to come back to c3, and then it's a game
So
with rook b8 coming in.
while we wait for more moves to be played, give the audience your take on who's the favorite for the candidates.
But for the candidates, I think there's a Fabi, and initially I thought Prague, but looking at their current form in Tata Steel, uh, I think Anish is also not doing good. So I think I'd go with Fabi. I don't know what Hikaru is cooking back home.
Hmm.
Somehow he ends up playing well in FIDE events, whether it's a Grand Prix or candidates, and coming second, third every time. So he's there, very experienced player, but again, one of the oldest as well. So everything depends upon how they are going into the tournament, how much pressure they are taking, how much relaxed they are. For sure, it's going to be a tough one for players like Isipenko, Blue Bomb. But Sindarov, yes, he's again a great favorite. He's in great form. So probably amongst Fabi, Sindarov, or if Prague strikes back, there's a Prague as well.
Yeah, I think my top three are definitely Sindarov, Fabi, and Hikaru. I think one of those three are gonna win, and then I think Giri has a
And
outside
Giri,
chance.
I don't think so.
I mean, I think he's like not likely, but if one of those three doesn't win, then he's likely to win. Blue Bomb, I think Blue Bomb's actually been pretty hot. He had a good Tata Steel, but I think he still is the lowest rated. Yesipenko has, no offense, I don't think he has much of a chance. Wei Yi, he's high rated, but he always draws, so I don't think he's gonna win. Um,
Yeah, I mean, Vijay is also pretty good. He'll be in, of course, top half of the candidates. Uh, I'm really gonna miss Nordic in the world, like in the candidates. Like he's so strong player, and he, every time fails to qualify with little margin. And if he would have qualified, then he would have been a real threat to everyone. But
yeah,
unfortunately, he's not part of the candidates, so it's a good news for all the candidate players. That's the one of the most dangerous player in world top five is not in the candidates. The rest all is
yeah,
fine.
like Vincent too, not in the can. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, he had a great year and he did not qualify. But okay, Vincent is a great player, but not that dangerous as Norderbeck. Like Norderbeck is quite very consistent and he never gives up. Like he keeps fighting, 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 fighting until he collapse.
Mm.
So that's the biggest skill of Norderbeck, I think, which separates him from the rest of the uh, prodigies, I would say. And and he has also done that against Magnus at many times, swindling in endgames against Magnus. Okay, this time he lost in the World Bloods, but in 2022 World Rapid, especially, or even many occurrences, fighting and beating Gukesh or whatever it is, even saving many dangerous positions. So he's a crazy fighter, I think, amongst this prodigies.
Yeah,
Also got a great in-game skills. So I think
couldn't.
he's whenever he plays candidates, I think he's going to be a favorite, and I think he'll at least win world championship once, if
Sorry,
not
who was
more.
that?
Sorry,
Who was that you mentioned? What player?
Nodrubek Abdusatra.
Oh, Norderbeck. Okay. Yeah, I thought in the game here that Rook C7 instead of King D5 was interesting.
So Rook C7, but that is just a draw, no?
Not here. Once he played King. So Rook C3. So King E7. I thought Rook C7, King F8, Rook takes H7, Rook takes B3, King F6 looked good
And
for
it's
white.
still a draw, right? Faded defense kind of.
Does that?
And you just go Rook B6 and you maintain third rank defense. I think that's the reason why I didn't go for it. Like you can get it, but takes, and after take King F6, you just go Rook B6 and King G5, and You are just making a draw.
Huh.
So he played king d5, h5. I'm not sure about this. But okay, king c5, b4. The right way is to play this and make a draw by frontal defense. So what is the frontal defense? Is basically you go back and before the pawn crosses the middle of the board, you start giving checks from the front to the king. And you make a draw. That's the right way. But instead, he played h5. Maybe he doesn't know the idea. Now, knowingly or unknowingly, he'll go here. And still, I think. But now he can play rook c4 and make progress. Ah, this is definitely lost. Just rook d3 and game over. But wait a second, he can give this. And he can give this, and after this, again come back to here. But okay, it should be losing. b4 is also probably winning with king coming to here and then just converting it into Lucena. So now multiple ways for ED with 10 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, this is yeah.
What do you think? b4 or rook d3? What's happening?
B4.
Okay.
B
GG.
why do you play G3?
I don't know. Maybe he was worried about h4 and rook f2.
Yeah, I guess.
Or maybe he was just in time pressure.
The clock's on the right side of the board. That's the quickest move, pretty much. Unless you want to play h4. Unless you want to blunder a pawn with h4.
Yeah, but it's like eventually game he played bishop c5 and rook here with 2 seconds. Like it was crazy. With
I was
clock
thinking
on a8 side.
he still got it.
Yeah, he just missed like the Masters by half point, and he was winning 2 of them, which games which ended in a draw. And but of course, Andy played very nice in the whole event. Wait a sec, what he did? He played h4 for what reason?
Wow.
Just push, no? Or play this.
Yeah, that's weird.
He plays h4. Now he allows king d7, and now I'm not sure if he's winning or not because b4 there's a king c7. And king b6, then you're not pushing the pawn. But king b5 you had. King b5 may be possible. But again, as I said, these checks are coming and you go here and now the king is just nearby. You still have this check, but then you go king d8 and I don't know. For this, there's a rook g4 and I don't think this is winning. He plays what? b4, he doesn't go king c7? Oh, my bad. I missed this, king d5. So there was a trick and he's still winning because of this trick.
Oh yeah.
And that is why I should not put rooks in random position. Just put in front and make a draw by checks.
Yeah.
Now I think king b5 and it's gone. So king a5, b5, b6, and GG. It's a Lucena.
Yeah, he won't mess this up now. Wow. There's always plot twists. Always. You have to be like a titled player or above not to. I mean, usually not to at least have some plot twists here. Because even though these are good players, it's they're low on time and rook end games are difficult. So
Yeah. One of the most difficult endgames, even for world top 10 players. And when you see this world weapon days, you realize how bad they are also at.
yeah.
And especially when you play Magnus.
Yeah.
You even find the world top 10 player how bad they could play. Like Magnus literally beats them like just like he's beating FMs.
Yeah.
Like absolute equal endgames, and then suddenly, wow, it's a miracle.
Do you ever played him in Titled Tuesday?
Yeah, I think I have almost beaten all of them except Magnus and Fabi.
Nice. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you play Title Tuesday every Tuesday?
I used to play when it used to be a monthly event until 2020 or 2021. And then I streamed a little bit in pandemic about the Title Tuesdays. And then when they started like twice every Tuesday, then I stopped playing.
Uh,
And then I have already beaten all of them. So,
yeah,
and I knew that, it's not easy to beat Magnus. He's just a different level player. And yeah, have beaten all of the rest of them. So I thought, okay, it's a good time to stop.
yeah. I once played Hikaru with, so I was watching his stream on Kick, and he was playing subscribers. So I quick subscribed to him, but he was playing subscribers in odds games.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to play him, but it was his mods on his Kick channel were giving him like crazy positions, and they knew I was a good player, so they gave me they're against some players they would give Hikaru like a king and a queen, and the other side would have almost all their pieces, because this guy was like 500. But for me, since they knew I was decent, they gave me eight
Night Owl?
knights. No, eight. Essentially, they gave me 8 knights and 8 pawns against 2 queens and 8 pawns. So I had the knight. So I was, if you do the math, I was at 3 points in material, and I ended up winning. Hikaru blundered one of his queens to one of my knights, and he started laughing. So that's been one of my highlights of my
That's
amateur.
good. That's good.
Yeah,
Actually, I also ended streaming after beating Hikaru in 7 moves. And I think yeah, I also stopped playing Adult Users after beating Hikaru because then I lost motivation after beating him. So it's kind of like my first game against Hikaru is a win against Hikaru, and my last game against Hikaru is also a win against Hikaru. And between I lost some maybe 8 games or something.
uh,
But my first and last game against Hikaru is still a win.
two out of 10 doesn't sound bad. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know for you, but to me that sounds pretty good,
yeah.
considering he sometimes
And both
30
the games I
to 100.
checkmated him like very badly. One game I checkmated him on D3, and the other game I checkmated him on D8.
Uh,
I was white in both of them. So it was fun getting his king from E8 to D3, and another game it was easy. He just missed some tactic and he got checkmate on D8 itself. And okay, in between so many missed chances.
yeah.
But yeah, he's very, very fast. Like it's very difficult to beat him. Like I won the title Tuesday only when like there was increment. It was a 1 second increment, but still it was increment. And that day I also finished out of Firoja and everything. I got third, and that's my best placing till date.
Wow.
And yeah.
Yeah, third's really, really good.
Yeah. That day I also lost to Vincent. And then okay, I had to beat Hikaru to be somewhere around top 10. And then okay, last round I was lucky to get some 2600. And okay, I managed to win that. Because the previous game I had beaten Hikaru, so my confidence was on different level.
Yeah, yeah.
Why this check? Wait a sec. Why this check? He's winning in this unconventional way, but okay. He almost drove it. Like, just guys, just always when you get Lucena, just get king to b8, get b7, and then just build a bridge by putting rook to the 4th rank.
Yeah.
If you do such things, you might even blunder like this and lose.
If that happens, which it never will, but if that happens, I think that would have to be the game of the day.
It will be yeah. Such things are possible only in like bullet and pre-moves, and those are some. You realize it's no.
I've seen too many how to lose at chess, Gotham chess videos to not have at least a little bit of belief that could happen.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be win for Eddie. He's going to resign after B7, I believe. I think he still has to build a bridge. because it's not going to end quickly. So he needs to get rook to d5 after that, and the game ends.
Yeah, this should be done in like a minute here. I don't expect either. Yeah, let's just
Oh wow! Now he's going to follow my advice. Get king to b8 and play b7.
yeah.
But this was not the position, my friend. The king is cut off by 2 files, so you don't need to do that. Just push.
Some slight ups. Well, wait, I guess Jordan did win. But so Jordan won. That's not an upset. Dane won. That's not an upset.
Yeah.
Kyler won. No. This would be a slight upset. Nathan's usually above 21. Well, he has a floor of 2100, so he's always above 2100. That's slight upset. Matthew, that's not an upset. Eric, not an upset. There are really no upsets today, except this. This would be the only upset on the
Which one?
games we covered. This one. This would be the only slight upset.
Okay, AD versus. But okay, I think AD is a decent player.
Yeah. Eddie's my most played opponent. He's most people's most played opponent because he plays so much at the castle that everyone.
Yeah, he's always there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's always there. I think I've played him like 40 times, thereabouts. I mean, that might not sound like a ton to you, but 40 times for me is kind of a lot.
It's a lot. The same opponent 40 times. I mean, in here, like, after playing one guy for 10 times, like, we figure out like what now, which line to play now. We have played everything almost more or less, and then we still try to figure out something. Like, there are many IEMs, like, which to him played more than 10 times, 12 times, 15 times, and after like round 5, round 6, like, we end up playing each other again and again because we end up beating other guys. And then there are some top IEMs or GMs, who always are there at the top, and like the penultimate rounds, on the final rounds, we end up playing against each other, and it's always a crucial round. And more or less, we have tried many lines against each other to win the game. And then again, the question becomes now what to try next.
Yeah.
So even after 10 to 15 times, it's like, now what to do against the same guy, because you don't really prepare for that particular guy, right? In general. So imagine playing. I can imagine playing 40 times means what? It's like it's a record, I would say.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a classical game, so it's more serious stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be more specific. You have to be more systematic with your preparation and stuff. So is it going to play rook d4 or rook d5? Let's see. Can you guess it? Or just rook a3 and.
Yeah, I was just thinking rook a3.
Okay. No more building bridges.
No more building. I mean, we go from not building bridges to building bridges to not building bridges. That would be poetic.
Yeah. So let's see if we can guess it is more. I think he'll play rook a3.
To be different, I'll go rook d5. Oh.
Yeah. Okay, now I think it's an important question. King a7 or king 8?
Yeah.
King 8, okay.
King's in the corner.
To win it. Yeah. So finally, we also started guessing Eddie's move. And I think now resign or rook b1.
Resign.
Resign. Okay. I agree. Or maybe rook b1, rook b8, and then resigns. 2 options, I think, only.
This was bullet weird play.
I could guess it. So after rook b8, it's going to be resign.
Yeah. I don't think Nathan's a player who plays out stuff.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Yeah, after King Beatty resign, I think so. And that's the only winning move, guys. Here. Oh, come on.
No.
Uh,
Okay, next move, Shirley. He's not gonna play this out. No way he plays this out. I can't.
okay, if you can guess, it is more here.
Yeah,
I'll
Rook A5, Rook A5.
okay, okay, fine. Okay.
Maybe that's not the best, but
But no, it was really tough. It was really tough. You know, he could play anything.
there's only one right move here, and that's resigns.
Yeah. That's the only move.
Oh, okay. We can end the stream. We don't need to see Rook and Rook checkmate. We'll shout out our sponsors quick before we end the stream. And our Discord. Make sure to check out the Castle Discord, guys. The link is in the description. Go check that out. Get involved talking about chess because we all love chess. And then, of course, it's sponsored by Chess Goals. You can check out simple chess courses for non-grandmasters. Learn complete repertoires under 100 lines and use the coupon code CASTLE to save 30%. Check that out. And then also, it's not new anymore, but the Tuesday, we're doing the 60 plus 30, which is similar to Thursdays, but just less time control. You can check that out on the Castle website. And then the other sponsorship is Webeccentric. You can use the discount code CASTLE for 15%. And there's a merch store. And then there's also Webeccentric, where they empower small businesses and startups through tailored digital solutions. Webeccentric specializes in custom web development, cloud solutions, and digital strategy for small businesses. With over 25 years of experience, Webeccentric brings enterprise-level expertise to businesses of all sizes. We're here to help. Reach us at webeccentric.com and shop with us at shop.webeccentric.com, which is, of course, is the merch store. So check that out, guys. Get some cool Scandinavian-themed chess opening merch shirts. And yeah, that should do it for us. Any last words, Nubair?
That was great. That was really, really nice. Wrapped up to things up. And guys, hope to see you on the next Thursday around 2 same time on the same stream, some same channel. Bye-bye.